now.
Because it's just like, how? How? How?
How, that is the question we'll all be asking ourselves tonight.
And it's also the question our 8 News Now investigator Kyle Payne is asking after that woman's horrifying story was made public at a recent pharmacy board hearing.
First, a warning. Some of you, our viewers, might find this story hard to watch. Kyle, it really is a shocking story that should be a warning to all of us.
Denise, Bryan, the Federal Drug Enforcement Agency says it receives 100,000 complaints a year about suspected medication errors. We met Tamika Thomas just a few days ago, a few years after she went into a CVS in North Las Vegas. She got medication she thought was going to help make her pregnant, but the pharmacy got it all wrong.
I don't come from a big family, so I wanted to make sure I had a big family.
Tamika Thomas loves her big family. She has 4 beautiful, healthy kids and wanted one more. She was having trouble getting pregnant back in 2019 and more trouble when she had to have her fallopian tubes removed after 2 dangerous pregnancies. But she wanted to fight to grow her family. The fight you ended up having
was a fight that I would have never imagined I would be fighting.
The fight, it turns out, is against CVS, this branch in North Las Vegas in particular. She went in there to get prescriptions to help jumpstart her in vitro pregnancy. She went home, took the medication, and started to cramp.
Cramping is, you know, a norm, but my cramping went beyond that. It was extreme. It was painful.
So painful, she knew something was wrong. Expecting a drug that would trick her body into thinking it was pregnant, she checked the bottle. And your life changed that day. 2 CVS pharmacists who ended up in front of the pharmacy board had made a handful of errors filling Tamika Thomas's prescriptions. They ended up giving her a drug meant to terminate the pregnancy for which she had fought so hard.
They did exactly the opposite of what I was trying to do.
Not okay.
Not at all. I understand people make mistakes, but that mistake took something from me.
Thomas gave heart-wrenching testimony to the Nevada State Board of Pharmacy, which sanctioned these 2 pharmacists with unprofessional conduct and failure to adequately supervise the 2 technicians that made the original mistakes. The board says someone at the pharmacy should have called the doctor because nobody at CVS could read these prescriptions. And then one of the pharmacy techs guessed wrong, entering a generic prescription name which is the exact opposite of the brand name the doctor prescribed. Then the board says the pharmacist failed to counsel the patient on what would happen when she took this drug, misoprostol, better known as the abortion pill, which destroyed those 2 embryos and broke something deep inside Tamika Thomas.
And all I got was a sorry.
Not good enough.
It will never be good enough.
A CVS spokesman mentioned that apology in a statement to the 8 News Now investigators. It says, "We've apologized to our patient for the prescription incident that occurred in 2019 and have cooperated with the Nevada Board of Pharmacy in this matter. Prescription errors are very rare, but if one does occur, we take steps to learn from it in order to continuously improve quality and patient safety."
Well, I would object to an open question like that.
But CVS's attorney repeatedly distanced himself from the pharmacist, both at the hearing table and in defense of his client.
To suspend or to take action against a pharmacy license when they really didn't do anything wrong, wasn't pledged that they did anything wrong. The only allegations are that they had these pharmacists.
And he pointed his fingers right at the pharmacist and said they did it.
Correct.
What did you think of that?
I felt like that was not okay because he should have took initiative for the company as a whole.
For his part, the attorney for CVS told the 8 News Now investigators he stands by what he told the pharmacy board and has no additional comment. But for Tamika Thomas, it does not end there.
There's not enough that I can say. There's not enough therapy. There's not enough medication that'll take the thoughts away, that'll take the pain away.
The pharmacy as a whole was fined the maximum under the state statute. That's $10,000. At least one of those pharmacists no longer works for CVS, and they both got fined and are essentially on probation for a year.
You know, Kyle, she said there, you know, she's still in pain, she's still grieving, that they got fined. People at home might be thinking, well, maybe she should sue the drugstore.
She probably should, but so far, no lawsuit. This woman had to work through quite a bit to even get the courage to talk to us, to talk at the meeting. I know she'd like to sue, but this happened 4 years ago. In Nevada, the statute of limitations is generally 3 years.
Oh.
And Cal, we also saw in the balance of your story that CVS apologized. Did the pharmacists do the same?
They did. Both of them apologized, and tomorrow we'll see their apology and also investigate why and how some of these mistakes happen.
Cal,
Look
thank
forward
you.
to that report. Thanks, Kyle. A woman prescribed medication to help along her pregnancy, but instead was given the abortion pill. I'm joined in studio right now by 8 News Now investigator Kyle Payne, who walks us through how something like this could even happen.
Denise, we've all waited in that long pharmacy line. It's no fun, but every day the pharmacists behind the counter have to fill several hundred prescriptions as well as other duties, and they say major mistakes are inevitable.
The first thing I read was it's used for abortions. So everything that I worked hard for, at this point, it was just like over.
Over for Tamika Thomas of North Las Vegas as soon as she walked into this CVS, also in North Las Vegas, to get the prescription she expected to help kickstart the pregnancy process. Technicians and pharmacists there made a series of errors that led to Thomas getting the exact opposite drug, terminating her in vitro fertilization.
Did you conceive a child?
Thomas went to the pharmacy board with her complaint, the board sanctioning these two pharmacists, him with failing to consult with the patient before she left with her prescription, and her for missing errors made by CVS technicians. The pharmacists taking responsibility, but putting some of the blame on their boss, CVS.
At the end of the day, you're asking a clinician to make clinical decisions with very limited options, to take the time to make good clinical judgment calls.
This pharmacist telling the board CVS put pressure on her to meet certain, quote, metrics, reducing staff and increasing the workload. With more to do and less people to do it, this pharmacist was overwhelmed.
It was not the place that I really felt was safe to work in. And even if you have brought up concerns about it, there was not really anything that ever changed.
But not changing seems to be working for CVS, at least on paper. CVS annual report shows the drugstore giant raking in $322 billion last year. Proud of its past.
Those pharmacists say they're stretched too thin in their positions, and they worry that it puts patients at risk.
But in the present, CVS pharmacists in Kansas City stopped coming to work, warning its CEO that they can't keep up with the amount of prescriptions they are expected to fill every shift. A similar argument to the one made here in Nevada, where these pharmacists say CVS is asking too much of them, piling on the work and cutting staff.
We cannot expect one pharmacist to be doing drop-off, pickup, verifying prescriptions, calling providers, calling patients, all of those duties, and administering vaccinations.
All that work is taking its toll. Turns out the suicide rate for pharmacists is a lot higher than the general population. The Nevada Pharmacy Alliance says, quote, our profession rightfully demands actions that prioritize the safety of both pharmacy professionals and patients who depend on their care. Patients like Tamika Thomas, the victim of a horrible human error.
It's a human error. It was just a human error, and I'm so sorry.
But for Tamika Thomas, after what she's gone through, sorry only goes so far.
I put my life in CVS's hands, and they gave me something that could have possibly taken my life away, but it didn't. It took my baby's life away.
You know, you talk about the volume of work that these pharmacists do. I understand people make mistakes, but I mean, this one was life-changing. What happens next?
Well, we tried to speak with the pharmacy board to get some context, but they had no comment. They tell me CVS might still appeal that $10,000 fine, which was the maximum allowed under state statute. A drop in the bucket based on the billions they say they make every year.
Wow, and certainly for her, too. All right, Kyle, nice report. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.